Hi, it's Karon Thackston with marketingwords.com, and I have Sue Painter with me today. We're going to talk a little bit about, actually, I take that back. We're going to talk a lot about multiple streams of income and what they are, how you figure out if you're in any danger with multiple streams of income or not having those, and where to go and set up some steps that you can implement right away to protect yourself and to increase your revenue also. So I want to bring Sue to you. I asked her specifically to join me today on this video because she is such a smart online businesswoman. I have known Sue for years. We met through what used to be the NAMS conferences in Atlanta, through David Perdue and that group of people, and just clicked pretty much right away. I have taken advantage of Sue's knowledge and wisdom over the years personally, and I can tell you that she is just absolutely brilliant when it comes to growing online business and troubleshooting spots and helping people work through those. So Sue, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll get into our conversation about multiple streams of income.
Okay, thank you, Karon. I'm honored to be here today, and thank you for the introduction as well. I own a company called confidentmarketer.com. You can find that on the web at confidentmarketer.com. And like Karon, I'm an online entrepreneur. And like Karon, I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income. I typically work with women entrepreneurs who are establishing or who have a business already and are looking to expand their income streams. Usually, by once they've established one income stream well, usually by starting to look at multiple streams of income. I personally teach my clients that I believe that you should have at least three revenue streams. And Karon, I know, has already done one YouTube video about this, and she and I have talked about this a lot too. So, it's when one goes down, the other will sustain you. And in the online world, things go up and down all the time.
Exactly. And I will also have below a link to Sue's website so you can get more information about her. And she's got some wonderful resources, a blog that she does, and some other things that you can take advantage of also. But I just wanted this to be a casual little conversation between us. I've got some notes that I'll be looking at that I was jotting down this morning. But let's start with defining multiple streams of income. And to me, that is anything that is dependent on a single source of revenue or a single source of traffic. So if everything you're doing is dependent on Google pushing traffic to a website, for example, all your ads are coming through Google, all your organic traffic is coming through Google, and Google makes changes, then that one stream is gone and you're no longer getting traffic from Google, which can crash everything else. So, the same thing we talked about, if everything is built into consulting services and all of a sudden you get sick or parent gets sick or something to that effect, and you're not able to do the consulting services, all your revenue dries up. So tell me what your definition of a stream of income is, and what dangers you see with having too few of those.
Okay, and I agree with you. I think there's some confusion among people about what multiple streams of income actually means. Mm-hmm. And let me give you a quick example of that. On my website, confidentmarketer.com, I offer consulting services, coaching services, and online courses. However, I consider all of that to be one stream of income because it all has to do with confidentmarketer.com, and it all has to do with driving traffic to either my blog or to my website or to my online courses. So although there are multiple streams of income within that business, that to me is one stream of income. Would you agree, Karon?
Yes, I would. Yeah. And you mentioned some things in there that were solely dependent on you, the consulting, the coaching, or if something happened to you and you were unable to do those, both of those would vanish.
Right.
At least temporarily.
Right. So to me, looking at how you can have multiple streams of income really means in different industries or in an industry that's closely related to the one that your first business is in. And it depends on different sources of traffic, or it depends on a totally different thing. So, for instance, I also own a travel agency, an online travel agency. And so Bill and I work with people who want to do retreats or who want to take families on cruises or on land tours. And that's completely different than what I do in Confident Marketer. And while, yes, some of that is done online, almost anything is done online anymore, it's a totally separate business. And when I'm talking about Confident Marketer, I don't ever talk about Travel Changes Life. When I'm talking about Travel Changes Life and marketing that, I don't talk about Confident Marketer. So to me, the definition is, what is it that's totally different, that if one of those businesses dried up tomorrow and all the various ways you make money within that business dried up tomorrow, then what else do you have that is left standing? And often those can be very different things. It can be something that is another interest of yours, like for me, travel. It can be something that is a hobby. It can be something that developed around some kind of giving back or charity event that you have come to really work in and know and love, and that develops somehow into a business, another business for you. I sort of personally think about it like Confident Marketer is my main business, and my other two businesses are kind of in a little bit of a way side businesses, but in the best possible way. When you think about multiple streams of income, you should really think about separate streams of income, all of which are strong and all of which will carry you if one of them is to take a dip.
Right. So one is not dependent on the other.
One is not dependent on the other. I could go do Travel Changes Life tomorrow if ConfidentMarketer.com disappeared off the face of the earth today.
Yep. And that's the whole thing with multiple streams of income in an online business especially. You want to protect yourself. And people say, well, Amazon's not going anywhere. Yeah. Maybe not. But sellers get suspended. I have a friend of mine that a year or two ago, she didn't even actually, when everything was said and done and they went back and evaluated, which we knew this to start with, she didn't do anything wrong to begin with. Amazon was just snooping around and they suspended her account for about 8 weeks. Wow. She couldn't get her inventory to sell it anyplace else. I mean, you can have multiple marketplaces that you're selling on and what have you, but she couldn't get to her inventory. It was stuck in Amazon's warehouses. Everything closed down. So she had no revenue coming in from that stream. And if that had been her only source of income, she would have been messed up big time.
Yeah.
Google has made massive sweeping changes, not so much lately, but they used to do this on a regular basis. And e-commerce websites years ago really got messed up because Amazon started hammering down on duplicate content. And they were actually going for the article publishing websites that only a few of those exist anymore, because they were all ranking and you would do a Google search for whatever and the same article would come up 27 times, which nobody wanted to do. So when they did that, a casualty, an unknown casualty of that was e-commerce websites who use a lot of canned content from the manufacturers. So everybody that was selling those, whatever, I'm trying to think of a brand name off Rubbermaid. I'm sitting in a room that's beside my kitchen. If you're selling a set of Rubbermaid plastic storage containers and you were using the same copy as 75,000 other website owners that were selling it, that was causing those sites to crash. So unintentionally, e-commerce sites got taken down right along with it. And because all the traffic was coming to those sites from Google, they had never explored any other types of paid traffic or trying to get traffic on Bing or any of the other search engines or other way, building a list to be able to directly connect with your customers or things of that nature. All of those went down. Facebook right now, if everything you're doing, if you're using Facebook advertising to drive traffic to webinars that then upsell to something, or lead generation or client generation types of ads, right now, because Facebook is in a hole with all the privacy issues, some things have already changed with their advertising policies and probably will change still. So if every bit of advertising you're doing for that particular program is on Facebook, you might be on shaky ground right now. You may want to start exploring other means of driving revenue to that. So you can have a single stream of income with multiple streams of traffic, which is one way to do this, or you can set up multiple streams of income entirely. And that was some other things that I had jotted down here. How do you decide? And Sue, when you're talking to people, how do you decide? If this was someone, let's stay with the Facebook thing for now. If this was someone who was driving traffic through paid Facebook ads to a webinar they were doing, and that was generating leads for new clients for their consulting company or whatever it may be, what would you suggest to them as far as getting additional streams of traffic and or additional streams of revenue to go into that business?
Yeah, a little bit. We're sort of talking about two different things, because we're starting to talk a little bit about multiple ways of driving traffic to the same business.
Right.
But I understand your point, and I think it's a hugely important point, Karen. The one thing that you can count on if you are in the online space is that there will be all the time constant disruption and often massive change. And you have to build a business model that is scalable around the issues of constant change. Nothing is ever going to be set in concrete. In fact, I did a blog post the other day about, look how many social media platforms have come and gone, even just within live stream. So you're constantly knowing that you've got to create a business that will work really in the midst of chaos, because it's kind of like the Wild West out there. That's what I tell my clients. So if you depend on if you depend on Facebook advertising, which I use Facebook advertising, then don't ever want to feel like that is going to be the be all and the end all. So if you're looking at driving traffic to a particular business and you're looking at Facebook ads currently, then you also need to have a plan B. You need to start looking at, should I be also driving traffic through some Instagram ads? Should I be looking at LinkedIn? Should I be building in my LinkedIn presence? Should I be looking at doing some LinkedIn, Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram, all, you can do advertising on all of those platforms now. Should I be looking at Medium and starting to drive traffic to my offers and to my webinars through articles that I put on Medium? So you have to always think broadly. I think you can go too broad and run yourself crazy trying to be in all places. But I usually recommend that you master one, and then when you get one working well, you go and you look at least one alternative and probably not more than two alternatives, so that you have three sources of traffic coming into any one thing that you're doing, like the webinar you're talking about.
Right, exactly. And like you said, all of them are not going to be a good fit for everyone. LinkedIn is almost exclusively B2B. There's some, B2C in there, but it's not the same type of platform at all as Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or any of the others. So you need to look and see, is this a viable source for me? Give it a try for a little while. If you're not getting traffic, if it's not working out for you, then mark that one off the list. You gave it a shot. It's not a good fit, and keep going from there.
Yeah. You got to think about where your people are, and so, if you're marketing something to a tween, you probably aren't really on Facebook at all. You're probably over on Gram or Snapchat or one of those things. So you really have to figure out where do your people lurk. I agree to you that LinkedIn is more B2B. Although lately I've been kind of watching LinkedIn, and I'm starting to see a little bit more B2C stuff on there. So it is also changing as every social platform continues to do and continues to evolve. And that's part of the, excitement for me. It's like, can you figure out what's going to happen next, and how can you make use of that? How can you leverage it to benefit your business? And sometimes you can't, but sometimes you really can. You have to keep that open mind, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, definitely. Well, I was going to say, it's definitely not the place for someone if you want to set it and forget it. But few things are in business. Every industry, if you're online or offline or whatever it may be, there's always constant change going on. So just know that whatever you set into place is probably going to change, but you can define those streams of income and take it as far as you want to take it. You can go, like Sue was saying, where she set up something in an entirely different industry. If you want to diversify within what you have, start with what you have now and work out from there, and then think about going into a different industry just so you can get some things started. Amazon sellers can sell on eBay, they can sell on Walmart, they can sell on Jet. There's all these other things. So you've got that platform there. If Amazon shuts down, you've still got these other revenue streams that are coming in based on the same thing that you're doing now. So that would give you some relief and a little bit of protection as well. But there's all sorts of different things that you can do. If you have been selling online for a while, if you've sold digital products, if you're selling physical products, whatever the case may be, then you may want to add some services to those. You may want to look into other passive forms of income. And I am a huge fan of passive. If I can make something a passive stream, oh yeah. The more passive it can be, the better. And when I say that, everybody thinks totally automated. You do have to create whatever it is, video series or ebooks or whatever types of, usually it's a digital something, whatever types of digital products that you're going to include. But once you set it up, probably 90% of it would be passive. You would still have to promote it. You would have to drive traffic to it. So, you're going to have your multiple streams of traffic just in line with your multiple streams of income to make those go. If you don't promote, you're not going to make any sales. But that's awesome to wake up in the morning and flip your email on and have all these notices in there where you had sales coming in literally while you were sleeping. And that's something, even if you do it, Sue said she turned some of her hobbies into a side business. Even if you start now with some of the passive streams of income and add that gradually, it would still give you some relief, so that if you aren't able to do whatever it is that you've been doing, you've got something working 24/7 for you that can keep driving revenue in with very little effort on your part once it's been set up.
It's funny that you say that. I think the trick for us as online entrepreneurs is to keep an open mind and to look constantly for where there is opportunity. And I'll give you an example of that. As you know, Karen, Bill and I bought another home back about 4 months ago, and we underwent this huge renovation. We gutted almost all of it except the kitchen and re-put it back together, and we just moved in about a week ago. So all of a sudden, because I share about my life on Facebook, and I put a lot of pictures of the renovation and all that on there, I'm starting to get requests about, well, can you give us tips about what to look for in contractors, and how did you pick this versus that, and how about what materials you used? And I started thinking about that, and I was talking to Bill about that over dinner the other night, and I was like, we've owned 18 homes, and we've gutted and renovated 5 of them. I know a thing or two about doing renovations. People are asking me questions. One of the things to follow is, what is it that people are asking you about? That could be another business.
Yep. Or a digital product.
Yeah.
Even if you don't turn it into a digital product. And I knew exactly where you were going with that. How can I monetize this?
Exactly. And I mean, for sure, I don't want to be on the phone all day, working with contractors, but I'm talking like I could make it into a video series. I could make it into an ebook. I could make it into a digital, like an online course about here's what to consider, because we really know how do you pick contractors and who do you stay away from. And a lot of people don't know that.
Right. Exactly.
And we're not all going to get Chip and Joanna Gaines, right? Although I wished for them many times while I was doing this.
Well, and we have had some minor, nothing like what you guys did, but we've had some minor home renovations done. And one of the contractors that we had that came highly recommended from some other people was just awful. Did a half slack job. We had serious work done to a bathroom, and the vinyl walls that were in the shower area are now coming unglued from the wall and other things like that. I mean, just sloppy, sloppy, sloppy work. So that is absolutely something, if we were getting ready to do renovations, that I would love to hear from somebody that's had 18 homes and been through it 100 times.
Yeah.
But that type of thing, you get the idea of what Sue's talking about, that if it's something that you have a lot of knowledge in, a lot of experience with, you can turn that into some sort of passive stream of income for you, even if it's not related to what you're doing now. There is absolutely a way to do that, and to go in and build a small audience that you could promote it to, and then set some passive things in that would be able to drive traffic to, some free webinar or a little cheat sheet download or something, and you build from there and you keep going. So you don't have to start out, and you probably wouldn't start out with some major undertaking to implement a passive stream of income or any multiple stream of income that you were going to include. You can start small and work on it a little at the time. And with that, what steps do you think that people should take right away? Say I've got an idea, like you had with the contractor thing. What do you do next?
I think you test it a little bit. You think about, what are the ways that, what are the things that I could do that might monetize this, that are not going to take a huge amount of my time to get done, like what you were talking about, things that are residual income where you set it up and then you do have to maintain it. You've always got to drive traffic to it. But like once it's invented, you don't have to too much go back and reinvent it, other than maybe updating it now and then. So
Right.
think about, what do you know? What is it that people ask you about? What is it that you know that is, we all have some little tiny pieces of expertise that we don't think about. And once you have identified those, then you can think about, how can I scale this and replicate it? What would be the fastest, easiest way to get some little product or some little training or some little ebook together where I'm talking about this and I'm establishing some social proof that, hey, I'm a person who knows about this and I can help you. And keep in mind, it can be a very narrow niche. In fact, the narrower the niche, the smaller the audience you have to sell well. There's a guy here in town who used to be a contractor who did all kind of bathrooms. And over the years, he niched it down, and now all he does is grab bar installations. So, and he's
That is a narrow niche.
he has a multi-million-dollar business established doing grab bars. And he has a team of people now who go out and find the studs and install these grab bars safely. And because I live in Florida, people call Florida God's waiting room, right? Well, there's lots of grab bars around. So he has a huge business, and it's easier, it's simpler, it's scalable. He can teach it to people and have a team of people do it. The advertising is very specific and very pointed. It's much easier business than having a huge contractor business where he did bathrooms and kitchens. So he was really creative in how he thought about how to niche his expertise.
Now, and I'm interested to find out why he decided to do grab bars. What is it that's so complicated about installing a grab bar that you wouldn't want to have a contractor that's already at your home do it instead of calling this man to come in and do it separately?
Right. So he just, he kept getting requests, I guess, for that. People try to put in grab bars and they don't hit studs, or they don't know how to tell if they're safe enough for somebody to really pull up on them.
Oh, God. So maybe not as part of a reno, just we don't have one and we need one.
Right. So he just goes in like, a lot of people buy houses around here and they need to have a grab bar installed in the shower or in the toilet area, or maybe even in the kitchen if they have mobility issues. And so he knows his guarantee to them is that they're safe and they're sturdy, and we will definitely either find a stud or reinforce in the wall what we need so that, you can pull up on it without fear of it coming off in your hand. And so it's just, that's all he does. And it's quick. It replicates it. It's quick. It doesn't take 30 minutes to do. So he's in and out, and he can service a huge number of people because he now has a team of people to go out and do that.
See, and that
was a brilliant idea. Really, it's brilliant. It's easy. He sweeps at night. He doesn't have renovation work that's gone wrong, or that there's some big problem that he's got to handle. He's just in and out real quickly. So think of what you can do that's really simple. I know another guy who was really, he's one of these drone folks. You know, he loves those drones that go up. And so he did drone all the time. And then he started having people started asking him, could you do a drone thing of my house and like show how close it is to the water and you know the views from up high. He now has a long distance. He charges $250. He goes in, he takes a drone view of the house, he zooms down on it, then he zooms out and shows the neighborhood and the relationship to the water. And people buy it to show their friends, but they also buy it if they're going to put the house on the market.
Yeah, I was thinking realtors would eat that.
Yeah, he turned a hobby into a going business. Takes him about 15 minutes. That gets $250. Hands him the file. Off he goes. Simple can sometimes be really lucrative.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that I have found when you're trying to decide what types of streams of income you can add to your business is I've asked some questions on LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever it might be to say, you know, hey, what's the biggest problem with this? Or has anybody ever thought about calling somebody to do this for you? Most people do this by themselves, you know, on their own, but, you know, would you rather have somebody do it for you? Or is it just one of those things that it takes a few seconds and doesn't bother you to do it? But if you can investigate that way, go on something like Quora and see if there are any questions. How do you, you know, whatever, you know, those types of things, whatever it is that's related to a stream of income that you might be thinking about, you can get some really good ideas like this, you know, and pay attention. If people are calling you, if you're a web design company and people keep calling you to get photography services or something to that effect, maybe you need to add photography services. While it's not a multiple stream of income, Sue brought up a very important fact. You don't have to do all this stuff yourself.
Right.
You can build a team easily. You can outsource some of this so that you have work that you're responsible for doing. If you're, you know, I'll stick with the web design for now. If you're doing the web design and then you want to add photography, but you don't want to build a team, you can absolutely outsource that to another company that does it. Keep it in-house or refer people to them and set up an affiliate arrangement or referral fee that you get for sending people to them. There's all sorts of different ways to work this so that you get a little more protection and everything isn't dependent on that one thing that if it falls apart, if it goes away, if it's cut in half, if it's suspended temporarily for 8 weeks and you know that you would just be in a fix, that's your cue. You need to do something to get out of that situation because it's a dangerous situation to be in. And that's what all this is that we're talking about. So
yeah, and really also if you get bored, because you know,
yes,
get bored at what we do, right? We want to go on to the next thing. So, you know, you might do something for 5, 6, 7 years and it's not you anymore and you want to change it. So you might get bored, and that's pretty typical. Most entrepreneurs are serial entrepreneurs. I mean, I am. I used to own a medical massage clinic, you know, so that's the name of the game.
All right, so let's give a few steps that people can use today to start investigating, and if they already have some ideas, maybe going, you know, one step further. If you don't have any clue what you want to do, what types of multiple streams of income, and I'll start with some involved with what you're already doing. You can look at what you have. Can it be expanded? Can you do it in a different way? Can you move it someplace else? So that goes back to Amazon sellers are a very, very, very good example with this. If you're only selling on Amazon, can you sell on eBay? Of course you can. And because you've got those Amazon listings there, if you're selling on an e-commerce site that you own, can you sell on other marketplaces? Absolutely. You can take the copy that you have, the products that you have, you can put up listings on your own site, on Amazon, on eBay, on all the Walmart, all these other ones, and it's not that much of a big deal because you've got pretty much everything in hand. You're just moving it, and that's what I mean by can you move it someplace else. If you have other types of products or services that you offer now that can be easily expanded into another form. Instead of doing the service for you, you've got done for you. Can you add done with you and do some consulting? Or even if you don't like consulting or coaching, that type of thing, maybe you could just do one-on-one meetings and not do the monthly programs and things of that nature. Can you help them with do-it-yourself types of products that they could purchase, videos that they could do, cheat sheets and checklists that they could use to expand what you're doing and allow other people to come in and have some passive forms of income. So if they want to do something completely different, Sue already mentioned investigate questions that people ask you. Think about what your passions are. What else could somebody do today if they wanted to do something entirely different than they're doing, Sue?
Yeah, and I really like your idea, by the way, of looking on Quora and see what questions people are asking. I think looking at places like that give you, excuse me, a little bit of a read about where people's minds are going. Another thing you can do, of course, is you can Google any term that you're thinking about. So if you're thinking about how to pick a good dentist in your local community, you can Google that and you can look at how many searches there are and see if it looks like there's some juice. You don't want to ever, if you Google something, although I can't imagine this actually happens, but people say it does. If you Google something and like there are no hits, then there's not a market for it. People think, oh, it's unique. Nobody's doing this, I should do it. But you want to have searches because that means there's a demand for it. And
Right.
usually you need to have, on Google anyway, probably 500,000 searches will show you that there's some juice there. So you can look at that. You can ask people. You can just listen and ask people. See what it is that they're going toward, what it is that they're talking about, and what it is that they need. I like the idea, if you are business to business right now, look at changing the audience. Like for me, I have clients all over the place, all over the world, but I do hardly any local business. I could really change and focus on local businesses, which I don't do at all. So that could be a whole nother income stream for me that really changes and isn't really so dependent on all the online things. So you could
Yeah.
do that. I think there's a lot of opportunity in B2C businesses right now. The service industries are hurting. If you can provide a good service, people will pay for that service. It's a good market because people who can afford to pay for services are well heeled. And once you get going with them, they will use you over and over again.
Yep. That's true. Awesome. I love it. If you've got questions about what we've been talking about for the last little while, absolutely post them below. Sue and or I will be happy to
Yeah.
give you as much information as we can. There will also be links below that are helpful to you with what we've talked about today, some resources to help you out. I have a private Facebook group for online entrepreneurs that's free to join, and I'll put a link to that in there. We've got some information from Sue and links to her website as well that will give you some free information and some ways to connect with us on other levels if you decide that you want to do that. So it's been awesome. I always love talking to you. I'm glad you had time to do it today.
Oh, I'm glad I did too. Thanks for asking me. I love chatting with you, and I miss you anyway. So hopefully we'll run into each other in the not too distant future.
I hope so too. I hope so too. This is Karon Thackston with Marketing Words and Sue Painter with Confident Marketer. Hope you have a great day.
Bye bye.
Before you go, subscribe to the Marketing Words channel by clicking the button, and check out the Marketing Words blog for more clever ways to convert better, sell more, and build a better business.